Good evening, Man United Agenda. Yes, we are discussing this big game pending this weekend. We're scared. Yes, we're scared. We're nervous. We're anxious. We don't want to lose another 7-0. And I'm joined by James, and we can tell you all about James, a Liverpool fan. Be nice, guys. Just be nice. Yes, people, welcome to the Man United Agenda. This is it, the preview show. This Sunday, 4:30 p.m. We are travelling to Anfield and we want revenge. It's been a terrible week. We don't want to end it badly, but it is a tough game, isn't it, Mr. B? How you doing, bro?
This is the worst game we could have had on one day. I swear, bro. You know, the beginning of the season, you're all excited. Yeah, Liverpool away, Liverpool at home, you check it. And then the reality is that we are going to Liverpool with a decimated squad.
Yeah.
Klopp's got them pairing again after the way that they finished last season. They lost Henderson, they lost the rest of their midfield. And, you know, me as an outsider is thinking, oh, they're in trouble. Who's Szoboszlai? Who's this Hungarian guy? And then this guy's just come on and he's killing it. He's killing it. So, yeah, I'm worried. On Monday, I am worried. Yeah, we'll talk about scores a little bit later, but I'm worried, man.
Guys, I want to build up our good friend, and yes, we can be friends with Liverpool supporters. But James, we go way back with the podcast and all that. He was around helping us out on the sister channel as well. But he's been doing some wonderful things. So over to you, James. I just wanted you to update me and the people watching as well. What have you been up to? Tell me who you are. Why you're a Liverpool supporter? What you've been up to? And what projects you got coming up very soon. Do that in about 2 minutes if you can.
not a problem whatsoever. You're talking to the right guy. You're talking to a more mellow guy than what would have been on maybe 18 months ago, I think it was, when I was on these sort of channels a lot. I still podcast the TTM Sports Show, where we interview former managers, players, coaches, and journalists, people deep within the game of football, about their life and times and careers and what makes them tick, really, because I think it's interesting. I also have an England podcast called Into the Lion's Den. First interview went out probably around 6 weeks ago, and it was with Peter Shilton, which was obviously England's most capped player of all time, where he talks about obviously his his career, his gambling addiction, and his life, which is so interesting. And also then I got a Scotsman into the Lion's Den for the second interview, which was pretty cool. So you think, we talk about Liverpool and Man United fans being friends. Well, if I can have a good couple of pints of a Scotsman in Glasgow, I'm pretty sure we can get on here. But yeah, I've also started writing. OMONDI, I've sent you some stuff. Little bits and pieces of what I've written about, obviously, Deportivo La Coruña and their history and all the players, and just amazing piece I wrote there. I'm going to be in a brand new football magazine called 9 Football. And also, when I went to Scotland, there was an abandoned football stadium called Cathkin Park. If you go on YouTube and have a look at that, and it's where Scotland used to play. Right. I went there. And there was a man that restored it, and he was in T2 Train Spotting, famous BBC actor called Simon Weir, who I interviewed, and that article will be out. And I'm also writing a book, and it's called Follow England Away, of testimonies, real testimonies about times when they've been away. So, one chapter's about a man in Bratislava, another one in Marseille in France 2016, and we all know what happened there. And so, yeah, I've been busy. I'm writing, I'm still podcasting. Bit more mellow, bit more calm, and look, I'm happy to be on, and blessed, God bless, really, to be in your company.
Wow, I'm really pleased. I'm just going back to the Shilton thing. I mean, Shilton's a legend. They sort of still say Gordon Banks, Peter Shilton. He's in that sort of bubble, one of the greatest goalkeepers we've ever had. And obviously, in 1990, he was like 40 odd years old, and he got so many caps, considering he was competing with Ray Clements as well. I've got to check out that podcast. Just tell me where I can find the podcast again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on Spotify or Apple, and simply put Into the Lion's Den. Or if you see my handle underneath there, Harrison J87, it's on Twitter right there. One interesting fact about Peter Shilton before we dive in really quickly, and it's one for the pub quizzes. He actually has a connection with Paolo Maldini and Martin Peters. So he played his first game for England. His first official game was in 1970, I believe, with the reigning world champions as they were at the time, and his last in 1990 in a third place playoff against Paulo Maldini. But he was actually an unused substitute in an England team in 1969, 8 or 69, in a packed house in the Maracanã in Brazil. Unbelievable longevity, should we say?
Wow. There you go. And played for some sort of not top clubs like Southampton, Derby.
Forest.
Nottingham Forest as well. No, he never played for the big boys. And we're here to talk about the big boys tonight because it's Manchester United versus Liverpool, or the other way around, Liverpool versus Man United. The big boys. If you want to dine at the big boys table, you have to be a historic club like Man United and Liverpool Football Club. And that's what we're here for today. Big up to everyone in the comments. Big up to Lucky Singh in the house as well. Give us a little update about the availability as well. We've got Agile Beast 21. Say hi, lads. It'll be peak of Man United for them to sack the current Premier League manager of the month. All the best from Sunny AZ. How you doing, bro? Big up to Tyrone Williams. How you doing, bro? Go and check out Tyrone. I know you like podcasts. Go and check out the podcast as well. All the way from the States, Black Bolt, New York. Thanks for the support, Black Bolt. Hope you're doing well. And big up to James. Here we've got Stoney, the brother of Mr. B, also a Liverpool fan. So you've got some support here, James. He's saying, good evening, gents. Looking forward to this evening's show and your thoughts and comments before Sunday's fixtures, but no doubt about it. Let's get busy. All right. So obviously there's a press conference today with the manager. And we've got some slides. We're just going to touch on a few points because obviously it's been an interesting week. We've been knocked out of Europe. We've sort of lacking the punch and the firepower, and the manager was under it in the press conference today. So he had mixed views on the injury front because obviously we should tell you now we're suffering. I've never really known it like this. Luke Shaw, thank God, has returned to training. He's back in training today and should be available, says the manager. And Marcus Rashford, I know he had a sniffly cold, but he should be available as well. But Anthony Martial is not. And Harry Maguire is going to miss the next few games. It's not a long-term injury, though. So Mr. B blows and skirts. I mean, a cold to miss the Bayern Munich game. He's back. I mean, yeah, it's the Luke Shaw thing. I mean, because we're struggling in defence. That's really the big talking point here. I thought both would be out. Does that give you a bit more security?
Yeah, a little teeny weeny bit, just a little bit. Look, Martial, he is what he is. He's just taking up space until the season finishes. Marcus, I feel that since he's lost his place on the left, he doesn't have the desire to want to play football. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just looking at this from the outside. So, yeah, I'm glad they're back, but I'm not sure it's going to make much difference in the cold light of day on Monday.
Okay. Are you worried about Harry Maguire? He was the form man of the month, player of the month there, James. Were you a bit concerned when you could see him in that sort of form coming into this game?
I'm more concerned about Harry Maguire's form for England, and I really don't. I don't want to sound obnoxious. I don't want to sound above my station. I just feel at Anfield, it doesn't matter who you back, my friend. It's Mohamed Salah. You know, I just feel that I was happy for him that he was playing well, and I was happy for him that Eric Ten Hag, who I'll talk about later, I've got a lot of opinions on Manchester United. I'm very happy that Maguire's been given an opportunity to play for your team. He's not. You say he's out of the game. I mean, who'd you put in there now? Lindelof. You know, will he play Shaw as a centre back again?
Hold your horses. We got Solos 11. He will be letting us know.
Okay.
That's what's important around it. So, secondly, saying on whether he was scared to losing 7-0 again. Obviously, that's what happened last time we finished and visited Anfield. I haven't seen that last season. We were scared going there. It was a bad experience. We cannot ignore that. But we will go there and we will be confident. And regarding Liverpool's form, he said they're playing good, no doubt, but we can go head to head with them, and that is our challenge for Sunday. So kind of confident here. He's saying he's going to put out a team that's confident can get a result, and he's saying then there's no fear because he was actually asked straight up, "Are you scared?" And he said they're playing well, the top of the league, but we can go head to head with them, and that is our challenge on Sunday. So because it's a derby game, James, I mean the manager's sort of like he's not backing down here. He's not sort of going along with the journalists or giving them any headlines. He's saying, no, we can be confident. And he's giving examples of our form in recent weeks where sometimes we play pretty well.
I think he's got to OMONDI. You know, we know Ten Hag. He's ballsy. I'll give him credit for that. He's got a hell of a job on, which we'll no doubt touch on. But I think at the moment, if your Man United manager was to stand there before a derby of this magnitude and to say, "Yeah, I'm scared," you can't say that. So we sort of, I think the reporters forced him into that response. However, the way he's put it across well, in all fairness to Erik Ten Hag. Again, we've had a bad experience and we cannot ignore it, but we will go there and we will be confident. In one breath, that's really good. That's a really positive statement to make. But on Liverpool's form, they're playing good, no doubt, but we can go head-to-head with them on Sunday, and that is our challenge. Go head-to-head. So Alex Ferguson, would have turned around and said, we're not here to go head-to-head. We're here to win. And I think, do you see what I mean, gentlemen? I think that might be the difference.
Very good. You know what? I didn't read it like that, but yeah, you've sort of scratched the surface there. And maybe there is a bit of a hesitancy. You agree, Mr. B? Because I read that wrong completely. I thought, yeah, he's confident. But head-to-head is not the same as we're going to go there and whoop their backs.
Yeah, exactly. As Harrison said right now, he's going to head-to-head, and everybody who's thinking if he tries to go head-to-head with them at Anfield, there's going to be headache. So let's hope it was talk. It was talk just to give them a little bit more confidence,
Just going to the comments here. We deserve better saying, Harrison, who do you follow? Harrison, if you didn't start the show, he's a Liverpool fan and a friend of the channel as well. So he's come on to give us some support. Want to say hi to Kai. He says, United win all the way. Liverpool will crumble. Harrison knows that. Obviously a friend of yours there. And,
he is. A good man, Kai.
He's saying here, not for sacking managers. Shambles is down to the terrible owners and incompetent board members. So there you go. I love this, that we're getting we're not people coming here, get manager out and all that kind of thing. We're sort of digging deeper to find out what the real issues are. Let's go to the final point from Mr. B's slide here, saying he is confident Haaland will get his first Premiership goal very soon. He scored 5 goals at the highest level at the Champions League. He has a potential. We will recognise that, and I'm sure he will get there. So he's backing the young man he spent some money on. Being out of Europe altogether will not be, while not ideal, could be of benefit as well. I think the way you describe that is true. We have had so many injuries in the first part of the season, and now we have fewer games, so there'll be less. The load will be less. That will give players opportunities to recover and more time on a training pitch, which is facts. But it's not facts because we've got to come up to Boxing Day on Christmas. The fixtures are wild, aren't they? So that's the press conference. Any sort of pointers, guys, that you want to jump on there? Just shout them out.
Yeah, go on. Oh, you go, Mr. B. You go first, brother.
No, go. No, I'll give the guess.
Thanks. I think he's right with those comments. I think he's absolutely spot on because I've got a friend who's a Tottenham fan, and I keep telling him, I said, with all due respect, one, you had the start that you had was because you played. Who'd you really play? You played Arsenal, Man United. Aside from that, Tottenham didn't really play anybody, as far as I'm concerned. No European football in any capacity, with a squad that's sort of set up for European football, was found wanting last season, but actually with 6 to 7 days to prepare for each Premier League team so far this season, I expect them to be up there, and they should be up there. And lo and behold, as soon as they get a couple of injuries and they start to play some of the big hitters, they're tanked. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, with Man United, that's a blessing in disguise, is what I think we should call it. I think without any, what's the word I'm looking for? Interruptions, as if distractions, as if European football can be. He needs to get those players in a bubble and just say, look, domestically, we've got to get Champions League football. Your club should be in the Champions League. No shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Biggest club in the world, one of, you need to be in Champions League.
Just quickly, I just want to touch on this before we go on, because we've got other things to go through, especially the solo 11. That would be interesting. So, James, just want to ask you a couple of questions. You wanted to touch on Ten Hag quickly. You wanted to talk about Ten Hag briefly and maybe give us some hope why we shouldn't sack him, I imagine. And also, I just want to say how impressed I am with your manager. Obviously, he's top drawer manager, but also can you just touch on losing such experience in midfield with Milner, Henderson, and Fabinho leaving the club. That's the hub, the midfield is the hub of the side, and you brought in these young guys to play football. And I've made this analogy the other day. It's a bit like going to high school and when you go to high school, you go to the uniform shop and you buy big blazers that players have to grow into. And that's why I thought they're not ready. These young players will have to grow in. Jones and Elliott and the Hungarian, they're walking around wearing big blazers. They're not ready to fit yet. But I was wrong. They're playing pretty well. So Ten Hag quickly and Liverpool midfield lacking experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will it take you all the way?
Yeah, look, with Eric Ten Hag, I mean, I went to watch Ajax earlier this year, who were a shadow of their former selves, drew 0-0 with AZ Alkmaar, and I looked around the stadium, and I looked at the setup, and I thought, okay, it takes a serious manager to look after this lot. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I've been looking forward to this the last few days to ask you both this. I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's big enough, Man United. And actually, and I don't want to take away any hope or whatever. This is irrelevant of the game. I think he's a good manager. I think he may be an elite manager, but I don't think he's world class. I think actually, since Ferguson's left, David Moyes, world class? Nope. Louis van Gaal, world class? No, was in 1999 when he took over from Bobby Robson at Barcelona. Not since then, really. Let's be honest. World class? I don't know. Jose Mourinho? Yeah, 100%. Not undisputed. World class. Ole Gunnar
No.
It was. Nope. Eric Ten Hag, world class? No. Any wonder Manchester United are in the position that they're in is because they're not bringing in world class, bona fide Guardiola, Klopp, Ancelotti, Tuchel, Zidane. You know what we're saying, and I think that your club should be getting managers in like that. I think the issue with Jadon Sancho, I was listening to someone talking the other day and said, how would have Alex Ferguson have dealt with him? Would he have come out and publicly did that? Nah. He would have kept that behind closed doors at Carrington, and you would have found that either that player would have been out in the last transfer window or be in the team. And I think he's handled it wrong. I think the treatment of Harry Maguire, if he's not for you, you got to sell him, and the fact that he publicly shamed him. And I think he's just trying to come across as a disciplinarian, an authoritarian sort of gentleman, when the reality is, players just looking at him thinking, nah, not having you. And I think they need someone that's going to command their respect. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having Ten Hag, and I'm not having the goalie either. I called it in pre-season. Fantastic with his feet, maybe one of the best, up there with Edison. Take a shot from 35 yards. You could put your mortgage on him saving it, because I ain't. I'm not having him.
Objection, Mr. B. Can you just cut in for a minute, please? Because these points are just flying at us.
No, look.
Sorry.
Ten Hag. I think the problem with the players at Man United, whatever they have, they want something else. They wanted somebody who was a tactician. They got Jose in. Oh, he was too strict. So they got Ole in, who patted their bum, patted their head, made them breakfast, didn't cuss them in public. And then, he doesn't know enough. So now they've gone back the other way again. The only manager who could come to our club and do anything half decent is Ancelotti, in my opinion, because he knows how to handle big players. All right, we don't have big players, but their egos think they're big players, So I think that we need maybe a manager like that. But I don't have a problem with what Ten Hag has done. He came in the first season. Yeah, we probably did overachieve, to be honest, if you look at what we had. But we won a trophy. Yes, it was a minor trophy, but that should have got the players' juices flowing to want to win the next trophy up. But for whatever reason, their training's too hard. They run too much. Maybe that is right. Maybe that is the situation. But you have to work with the manager that you've got. I remember the England players were keep talking about the Italian, Capello, taking away the ketchup, taking away the this, taking away the that. But what they did, they complained after Capello was gone. While he was there, they got their heads down and did exactly what they was. And that's what these players need to do. If you're going to moan when he's gone. Don't moan when he's still there. And I think that's the issue at the moment, more than anything else. The disciplinary side of it, I don't have no problem with that. You need to set standards.
I think he's got a couple of transfers right, and I think he's got a couple of transfers wrong. The transfers that he's got right, Martinez, your centre back. I know, although rather small, he's actually a beast. He's a good defender. I like him, and I like your striker. He's going to be a handful, but he's very young. He's very raw. A different raw to Nunes. I think this guy's power it reminds me of do you remember Jan Koller? Does anybody remember Jan Koller?
The giant Czech from Dortmund.
Beast
Yeah.
mode, like sort of striker. Reminds me of him. Very will be dangerous, but not yet. You know, Anthony, an aberration of a signing. He's nowhere near good enough for your club. Sorry, you know, when you're doing what's around the world against you know, a Bulgarian team, what are you doing? You know, and I also think the Varane signing, although probably made within the best intentions, has been a disaster. So, I mean.
So all right.
I wanted him in Liverpool.
So you dissed our signing. Let's talk about yours quickly, about your midfield, because I did mention that about you've got no experience in there anymore. I thought, oh my God, you're going to be messed up. It's going to take its toll. But you brought in young players in midfield now, and obviously the Hungarian with Elliott, with Curtis Jones, and with Gravenberch as well, who's known to us. He used to play under Ten Hag. Why do you think it's working for you? And do you think over a season where you need that experience, do you think that's going to carry you through to win the title? But that'd be amazing. It'd be like for me when we lost 3-1 to Aston Villa at the start of the season, and Alan Hansen made that quote, "You're not going to win anything, kids." That's what I feel like saying, but I'm not going to say that to your face because I know it's going to come back to bite me.
Do you know what, Omondi? I thought of that earlier on. I've been watching some clips on Sky Sports of this new overlap sort of sit-down discussion that they've got with Ian Wright. By the way, I've turned into a massive Ian Wright fanboy. Like, do you know what I mean? I love the guy. The more man, he's a legend. Like, and he's actually really good friends with Roy Keane. But anyway, I was with the Liverpool midfield. You need to transfer back to the team when we nearly won the quadruple. Remember, we were 7 minutes away from winning the league until City obviously turned it around at home to Villa, and we lost the Champions League final just by dominating to an inspired. Was it Courtois who in goal? Yeah, he was just unplayable. So the disappointment of that, coupled with a team that was kind of, it was old. The midfield was past its sell-by date with Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, with this Jurgen Klopp gegenpress, heavy metal, in your face, every ounce sweat of being to fly into every challenge. Over 6 or 7 years, it's going to take its toll. At the top level, and we're talking fine margins at the top level. Liverpool dropped off an inch. We were down in 8th or 9th for the entire season. I said at the time, and my co-host James on the podcast, he said the season of transition. I was frightened it was going to turn into another 30-year transition, but no, it was a transition season, so we had to go in the summer. What we didn't bank on is we thought that this rebuild was going to go over 2 seasons. However, Saudi Arabia happened. And what you have to remember is they offered an out to a lot of our clubs, Chelsea especially, with Fabinho. That money come into the club that we just didn't expect to have. Henderson had gone. Firmino left, and we all know big wages, more money for the transfer kitty. He brought in Alexis McAllister for around 37 million, I think, something like that, due to a loophole clause. Fantastic bit of business, but he's been playing in central defensive midfield. And we all know that going forward, we need one after the Caicedo debacle. What a bullet dodge that looks to be. And Lavia for that matter too. He brought in, you talk about the Hungarian guy a lot, and I knew him. I knew him. He was obviously Rasenball, Switzerland, RB Salzburg. Salzburg was where he was at, and then Leipzig. So he went through that channel, didn't he? Yeah, he went through that channel. And basically, he's the captain of Hungary. And he's actually a dead ball specialist in his country. He's the man, you know, unbelievable right foot, good looking guy. You know, he's the perfect man, isn't he? He's a perfect player. I believe him coupled with that Gravenberch. And I know you mentioned he played for Ten Hag. He did. He was fantastic. He played against Liverpool in a game that also featured Onana. For Ajax against Liverpool. And he went to Bayern, never got the chance. Tuchel didn't fancy him. So what does Jurgen Klopp do? Thank you very much. The usual 35 million Liverpool signing, polish up your diamond, off you go. He's working on his fitness. But in terms of our midfield, that's so Jurgen Klopp, isn't it? To pick up 4 players and just turn them into gold and chuck in Trent Alexander-Arnold into the mix as well. And Endo. No one talks about this guy. And you two know football. Your viewers know football. When he signed for £16 million, it was like it was a massive come down, wasn't it? You had Caicedo over 112. Okay, it's not going to happen. We're going to go to Lavia for 50. Okay, that's not going to happen. No, we've got Endo. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to sit here on it. I'd never heard of him. I'd never heard of him. And a lot of players would have heard, a lot of people would have heard of him. Played in that incredible Japan team at the World Cup that knocked out, was it Germany, I think? In that wonderful group on that night of football when Germany were bottom, then top, and Japan were right in that. He's been a revelation. He started off very, very slowly, and now he's really coming into it. Remember that we beat Fulham 3-2 just over a week and a half ago. He got one of the goals. Great signing. We haven't finished. We need a central defensive midfielder. That's clear as as clear as day and night is night. But aside from that, I'm so happy with Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. The forward line's good. We need a centre back, but yeah, man, it's just I can't. How can I explain it?
I would say this, just like Eric Ten Hag attack. That was a smooth transition. It really was. I mean, like you said, you thought it would take a longer time. Klopp's managed to turn it around, and you're back into contention again. Right, let's go to the solo 11. This is the Man United solo 11 picked by our very own Solo. Let's talk about the defense, midfield, and attack. With the injuries we've got in mind as well. Mr. B, Onana, Dalot, Varane, Evans, and Luke Shaw at left back. Good enough for you?
Oh, it's going to have to be. I'm taking Varane all day and all night. Obviously, if Maguire was fit, he would have played. So we're down to our bare bones defensively again. Shaw trained today, which is a blessing in disguise. I was praying that he was available. But play him on his side. Play him on the position that he's in. Don't play him at centre-back. So, I think that's the best we can go with. I'm not taking Wan-Bissaka in this game, to be fair. I'm going to take Dalot.
Okay, so with obviously Mohamed Salah, we always look at him. He's a top player. But Shaw had him in his pocket. I know it's not a myth. It did actually happen. Shaw does play well against him because you have to be up for it. I mean, would you prefer Shaw or put Shaw at centre-back and have Reguilón out there? Is this an issue to do with Salah? Because we have to manage him.
Yeah, I want Shaw to play in his position on one day.
Okay.
If he was a centre-back, he would have been playing at centre-back all his career. He can play centre-back, but he's a left-back. He's your first choice left-back and he's available. Play him at left-back.
So this is interesting here. There's no Bruno Fernandes. Solo's gone with Kobe Mainoo, the youngster that can step up into big games and like a duck to water, and Amrabat. Now, ahead of them, he got Hannibal, the young Hannibal, who I remember he did come on against Anfield, or he came on against Liverpool in one of his debuts and went out there.
Just kick them.
Ass, yeah. And then obviously ahead of them, let's just cover the forwards as well. He's gone Rashford, who's probably back from his cold. Oh, boohoo. And is that Anthony with Rasmus up front? Is that strong?
There's one player missing who I'm delighted that Solo left out. So will Hannibal play? I'm not sure, to be fair, but maybe Bruno being a pussy and talking himself out of the game has done us a favor, because there's no way he goes and doesn't play anything other than a double pivot. Now, if it works, and when we say works, do we expect to win the game? Probably not. But if it works in a way where we can be in control of a game, maybe it's something that he's going to think about moving forward. Put Bruno in with the double pivot. That's fine, no problem. But play the double pivot, because the single pivot is not working on Monday. Just
to ask you a quick question, Mr. B. We were quite conservative against Bayern Munich. We didn't concede a load of goals. Do you think we're going to do the same thing there, where we kind of focus on being compact?
The only reason we didn't concede against Bayern is because they didn't come out of second gear.
Oh, you think they were already through?
Yeah, it was. They were just passing the ball around, and they did enough to win the game. If they wanted to batter us on Monday, they would have come out there with a different attitude. They know, we're going to give the ball away at the back, so they'll just sit off and wait for us to make the mistake. Okay. You know what I mean? I don't expect Liverpool to come there with the Bayern mentality. I'm sorry. I don't think they will. They had already qualified, man. They were an easy street. They just didn't want to get injuries.
So, all right, let's. We haven't got much time left. James, I'm going to come to you quickly. Looking at our lineup, where do you think you can hurt us? And how do you expect?
Everywhere.
What do you think your big threat's going to be against us? How do you think you can break us down? Because as Mr. B was saying there, we've been playing a single pivot, which has left us a wide open midfield. We've got pure transitions against us. Surely against Liverpool, we're going to tighten up.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's right about left back and Luke Shaw. I completely agree with that. I think centre back, I think I'd be worried if I was you at centre back. Right back, Dallow underrated, isn't he? I think he's quite comfortable on the ball. Actually, as a right back, I think centre back. I don't know how Amrabat's going to react to the Anfield atmosphere, which is going to be electric. An extra 7,000 seats allegedly going to be available as well for that. So more noise. I think the left side of your team is the team that's scariest with that Shaw, Rashford, and Højlund. That there could be potentially dangerous for us with Trent popping into midfield. That could be an avenue for you. However, I did say Fernandes. Do you remember when I come on here 18 months ago? And I said all along, and I said he spends more time in the air than a deck chair in a hurricane. I said that, I said it, and I've been proved right. I'm just sorry, I just had to say that. Look, I think both teams just want to get the game out of the way, if I'm honest with you. Do you know what I mean? You know, Man United, I know that you don't like Liverpool and I don't like Man United, but we do have respect. Do you know what I mean? You know, real football fans have respect, and I do respect your club. I'm wary of them. Football's a very funny old game. However, on this occasion, I think pure logic has to come into play. I think we get at you, man. I think we go early, and I think we really, really go for the jugular.
Wow. In that
That's
case,
what I'll be telling them.
That I'll lead you on to the score prediction. Guys, get your score predictions in. We've got minutes left. What's your score prediction based on everything you just said there, James? And you like to say I told you so. So tell us so. Now, what's the score going to be? You talked about Bruno. Predict 4-1 to Liverpool.
Oh, you think we're going to score?
My mind was telling me, yeah, I do. Even though we've got the joint best defense in the league, which no one talks about. You know, everybody says about Liverpool defense, oh, it's shaky, it's rocky. Joint top defense in the league, and one of them was one of them loss was against Tottenham. So look, no, my mind was telling me 3-1, and then in my mind I just started feeling 4. I can see it, I can picture it playing out. I just think if we score early, it's going to be a long game. But like Gary Neville says, if you get through 20 minutes at Anfield and it's 0-0, stranger things have happened. But people putting in 8-0, no, that was a freak. I think that was a freak, the 7-0. I think it was a capitulation of your situation, coupled with Liverpool just turning it on for the day. I think Liverpool win 4-1. We want this, and we could potentially be going somewhere with this team this year. So, yeah.
Mr. B, you heard it, 4-1. How are you going to go against Man United today?
I am. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't think we're going to take licks. I want us to play the double pivot, and I want McTominay not to play. Because if we play a single pivot with McTominay as the roamer, then we've gone to Anfield with 10 men. So I'll be honest, I think we're going to get dicked. I don't want it to be, but I can see a 5 on Monday. I can see a 5, unless he goes in there and sits in there like Luton do, or like lesser teams do, teams who know their levels. We need to understand the level that we're at the moment. We as Man United fans think we're this. We're not. So go in there and defend and play on the counter-attack, and maybe we've got a chance in the game. If we don't sit back and play where Liverpool cannot get behind us, on Monday we're dead. You think he's going to go there with that 3-1-6 against Liverpool? Salah's going to be pissing himself. He's just going to sit down there and wait for the ball to come. Trent's going to be licking balls from here, there, and everywhere, outside of his boot, left side of his boot. I don't see anything other than 5. So I'll go 5-1, just because Harrison said that we're going to score, and that's giving me a little bit of confidence. But I would have gone 5-0.
Very quickly, so Lucky's been saying 2-0. We've got 5-1 to Liverpool, says Big G. These are all Man United fans, by the way. 4-1 to Man United. Thank you, Zoe Media House. We got 8-0 from Big T. Come on, man. 3-0 to Liverpool, says Mike. Matthew Bassett, Mike Bassett. What am I saying? Rajat saying 2-1 to Liverpool. This is the first time I've seen it this bad. 3-1 to hopefully for Man United again, says Rajat. We've got a 5-0 to the Scousers, unfortunately. Rebel, how dare you? How dare you? Any more? Big T saying maybe 1-0. Me winning 1-0 would be good enough. Unless we go there and actually smash them. I'm just going to say this.
What's your score prediction?
Well, the league doesn't lie, they say, but it doesn't lie in May. At the moment, there's so many teams in and around fighting for the league title. We are sort of like 9 points off it, and we're not even halfway through the season. I think Liverpool aren't at their best, despite the league having one defeat in the league. They're playing well. I don't think they are at their best. I think they're lacking
lost
experience.
at home.
That experience will have to catch up with them. Like you said, the Fulham game, the Luton game, you can get at them. You really can. And I just think without having a defensive midfielder, without Virgil van Dijk, who Yap Sam said the other day, he gets a lot of criticism in Holland. I didn't know this. He gets a lot of criticism in Holland about not being his positional player. They expect more from him, his leadership skills and that kind of thing. So I think we can get a Liverpool. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw, and everyone's going to be shocked and surprised because I've never seen it this bad in the Man United agenda. I don't know if you, James, coming on here, tipping the scales, but there was only 2 or 3 people made a score prediction positively in our favour. I'm going to go 1-1 draw because it's not at that stage of the season. It's not that important where you're going to sacrifice everything Liverpool to go out and give us licks like you did in the past. Guys.
Yeah, minimum. So sorry, very, very quickly. Even if we win 1-0 on Monday, I don't care how it comes. I just want to win. I respect Man United. I respect your club, and I respect your fans.
Okay, that's the score predictions, guys. We're going to sign out now. I just want to say big up to James. James, guys, I don't know if you at the start of the show, but James just gave us a quick intro about what he's doing at the moment, doing lots of great work, journalism work, and the Deportivo write-up is absolutely fantastic. For those who are around at the time, I really got off on that. Go and check him out. Just give us a little social heads up where we can find you, and just remind people about what your projects are again before we lock out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much indeed. Man United Agenda. By the way, I watch your videos on TikTok. We are on TikTok. Into the Lions Den, an England podcast. I interviewed Peter Shilton, England's most record caps holder. Also holds the world record for the most professional football appearances of all time. You can find me on Twitter. Just my handle underneath here at HarrisonJ87. On Twitter, get on there. All the links to my stuff is there. I'll also post the Deportivo story. I also wrote a lovely story. Well, not a story. It was an article it's called Odiemos Mas, which is Mexican on a Club America football shirt, the 3rd shirt, where I interviewed the head of Nike Global Apparel about what goes into making a football shirt, what crucial decisions are made at board level, and how does it all work with Nike. And that was quite an interesting story. And I'm also writing a book too, and that is Follow England Away, compelling stories from England fans and their journeys abroad. I also host the TTM Sports show, the TTM Sports Football Show. There is expletive language. There is colourful stuff on there. It's good fun and good music as well. Not as good as OMONDI's, but it's good. And basically, and on Twitter, as I say, and on TikTok, I got my tickets for Euro 24 yesterday. As OMONDI knows, I follow England home and away, and I finally, that's 2 years of hard work to get there, and I've done it. So I'll be uploading every day on TikTok from the Euro, so that could be interesting from a fan inside the ground and that. So that's pretty cool. So
big up, James.
And if you want to go and watch England or anything, get in contact with me.
You're always welcome on the show. Guys, go and check him out, man. Top guy. If you love sports, you love that enthusiasm that you can hear in his voice, and the writing skills as well. Go and check him out and subscribe to all his channels and everything he's up to. Mr. B, you were asked a question. 10 p.m.
Yes.
What's going on?
Yes, the takeaway's on. I've got Stoney, my Liverpool supporting brother on tonight. Matt should be on from Football United TV, and Anthony should be on. I definitely know Stoney's on because I've seen the blue ticks. Whether or not the other 2 are on,
is there room for a yabba?
Yeah, of course. Listen, there's always space, man.
I feel I want some. If your brother's on, I want some.
Yeah, just jump.
All right, guys. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Really disappointed with you guys for giving us some negative score predictions. Don't forget to subscribe to James and everything he's doing. Great guy. Appreciate you. And hopefully, I mean this with all faith. Hopefully, it's a good game, and hopefully, we both have good seasons for Liverpool and Man United at the end of it, because we respect Klopp. And historically, we do respect each other as clubs. Thanks for what you did to us after 58. We've always had a good relationship. It's only in recent years that people have lost their way and misunderstood what the respect is really about with these 2 clubs. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back, obviously, for the watch along on Sunday. But in the meantime, check us out at 10 p.m. for the takeaway with Mr. B. Good night.